Hello, my friends. Today, I will tell you the brave story of a girl who changed history. Her name is Joan of Arc. She was only a teenager, but she did something that many adults could not do. She became a soldier and led armies into battle. How did this happen? Let's find out. Joan was born in 1412 in a small village called Domremy in France. She was a simple girl. She helped her parents, tended the animals, and prayed every day. But Joan was not like other children. She heard voices, strange voices that told her she had a special mission. They told her to save France from its enemies. At first, she was afraid. How could a young girl do something so dangerous? But Joan was brave. She believed the voices. She told her parents, who were worried, but they could not stop her. She dressed in simple clothes and traveled to meet the Prince of France. This prince was called Charles VII. He did not know if he could trust a young girl, but Joan's courage and words impressed him. Joan told Charles, "I will lead your soldiers and help you become king." People laughed at her. They said, "She is just a girl. How can she fight?" But Joan did not listen. She was confident and strong. She wore armor, held a sword, and rode a horse into battle. Soldiers were surprised to see a girl leading them. Some were scared, but many were inspired. Joan's story was extraordinary because she was not a king, not a knight, not a general, just a girl with a vision and courage. Her journey was dangerous. Many people wanted to stop her. Some nobles were jealous, some enemies wanted her dead. Joan's life would become full of battles, fear, and betrayal, but she never gave up. This is just the beginning of Joan's brave story. Stay with me, because the next parts will tell how she fought in real battles, how soldiers followed her, and how she faced challenges that could break anyone's spirit. Joan arrived at the French court to meet Prince Charles. She was only 17, but she spoke with confidence. She explained the voices and the mission. Many people were doubtful. How could a girl know the will of God? But Charles listened. He wanted hope for his country. France was losing the war to England, and people were afraid. Joan asked to wear armor and ride into battle. She wanted to lead soldiers. At first, generals laughed. "This is impossible," they said. But Joan convinced them. She promised to fight for France, and she never wanted fame or wealth. Her honesty and courage touched the hearts of soldiers. They agreed. Joan's first battle was in Orleans. This city was under siege. Soldiers were tired and losing hope, but Joan rode into the city on a white horse, holding her sword high. She shouted words of courage, telling soldiers to fight bravely. Her presence gave them energy. People said her eyes shined like fire, and her spirit was stronger than many men. The soldiers followed her instructions. They were inspired by her fearlessness. Joan led attacks, and soon the English army began to retreat. The French people were amazed. A young girl had lifted their spirits and changed the course of the battle. Joan's success was not magic. She studied carefully, listened to advice, and took risks. She was clever and brave. Every battle became more dangerous, but her determination never faltered. Her fame grew quickly. People called her the Maid of Orleans. Stories spread across France about the young girl who led soldiers and defeated the enemy. Many people supported her, but some nobles were jealous. They did not like that a girl was famous and powerful. Even in the court, Joan faced challenges. Some men wanted to control her. Some doubted her ideas. But Joan stayed focused on her mission. She did not care about power, only about saving her country. Her faith and courage kept her strong. Joan's story teaches us that age does not matter when someone is brave. Even a young girl can inspire thousands. She showed that courage can be stronger than fear, and hope can shine in the darkest moments. The next part will tell how Joan led her army to more battles, faced danger head-on, and became a hero in the eyes of her people. After the victory at Orleans, Joan's fame grew even more. The next mission was dangerous. She needed to help Charles VII reach Rheims, where French kings were crowned. This journey was full of danger. Enemy soldiers wanted to stop them at every step. Joan did not hesitate. She wore her armor, held her sword, and rode at the front. Soldiers followed her without fear. They trusted her completely. Many people believed Joan was guided by God. Her courage made them strong. The journey to Rheims was not easy. Soldiers faced storms, muddy roads, and constant attacks. Joan encouraged them with words like, "Do not fear, we fight for France and for God." Her presence gave hope. Even the soldiers who were tired or afraid felt courage. When they reached Rheims, the city was under threat. English soldiers and their allies wanted to prevent Charles from being crowned. Joan studied the city carefully. She gave clever instructions to her troops. Her plans worked. They avoided traps and attacks, and the city opened its gates. Finally, Charles VII was crowned King of France. Joan stood nearby, proud but humble. She had fulfilled part of her mission. People cheered, calling her a hero. They praised her bravery and intelligence. Many soldiers cried tears of happiness, inspired by a girl who was only 17. But Joan's life was not safe. Her fame made her enemies. Many nobles were jealous, and English soldiers wanted revenge. Joan knew danger was coming. She continued to fight, but also prayed every night. She believed that God was watching and protecting her. Her courage inspired more than soldiers. Ordinary people looked at Joan and felt hope. They had seen despair and fear, but Joan showed that even one person can change the course of history. She proved that bravery is stronger than fear, and faith is stronger than doubt. The story of Joan of Arc is about courage, faith, and sacrifice. Stay with me, because the next part will tell how Joan was captured, what she faced in prison, and how her bravery never faded, even in the darkest times. Joan's fame made her a target. In 1430, while leading her army near Compiègne, she was surrounded. Enemy soldiers attacked from all sides. The French soldiers tried to protect her, but the enemy was too strong. Joan was captured. She was taken as a prisoner to the English. They saw her as a threat. How could a young girl defeat their armies? They wanted to punish her and stop France from winning the war. Joan was locked in a cold, dark prison. She was alone, afraid, and uncertain about the future. Even in prison, Joan did not give up. She prayed every day and told herself she was not defeated. She wrote letters to the king and the soldiers, encouraging them to keep fighting. Her words inspired people far away from her prison. She became a symbol of hope even while captured. The enemy tried to scare her. They questioned her, accused her of lying, and wanted her to admit she was wrong. But Joan remained strong. She answered with confidence, never betraying her beliefs. She knew that her courage and faith were more powerful than chains or threats. Soldiers who had fought with her remembered her bravery. Even though Joan was imprisoned, her legend grew. People whispered stories of the girl who led armies and faced enemies without fear. Her courage became stronger in the minds of French soldiers than ever. Joan's story shows that bravery is not only in fighting, but also in facing fear. She knew that being captured could mean death, but she stayed true to her mission and never gave up hope. Her faith and determination inspired everyone who knew her story. Soon, the enemy decided to put Joan on trial. They accused her of crimes she did not commit. This trial would be dangerous, with clever questions and threats. Joan would face some of the most difficult moments of her life, but even here, she would not lose courage. The next part will tell how Joan defended herself in court, faced lies and betrayal, and showed the world that courage and truth cannot be defeated, no matter how strong the enemy is. Joan was brought to trial by the English. They wanted to prove she was guilty of crimes. But Joan did not fear them. She was calm, strong, and determined. She knew that the truth and her faith were on her side. The trial was difficult. She faced many questions from powerful men. Some wanted her to admit she had lied or that the voices were false. Others tried to trick her with complicated questions about God and the church. Joan listened carefully and answered with honesty. Her bravery amazed everyone. She was only 19, but she spoke like a wise leader. She never changed her story. She said that she was guided by God and that she only wanted to help France. She refused to betray her mission or her beliefs. Many people in the court were surprised. How could a young girl face such powerful men and remain unafraid? Joan's courage was stronger than their threats. Even the judges who doubted her could not ignore her confidence and honesty. The trial lasted weeks. Joan was isolated, often threatened, and forced to stay in harsh conditions. Yet she continued to pray and believe that God was protecting her. She never let fear control her actions. Despite her strength, the enemy had plans. They wanted her punished and silenced forever. Joan knew danger was near, but she never lost hope. She told herself that even if she died, her mission and the spirit of France would continue. Her courage became legendary. Soldiers, villagers, and even some of her enemies began to respect her. They saw that Joan's bravery was not just in battle, but also in standing for truth when no one else would. Joan's story teaches that real courage is facing danger without giving up. It is staying true to your beliefs even when the world is against you. Her life became a symbol of hope, faith, and bravery. The next part will tell how Joan faced the final moments of her life, her ultimate sacrifice, and how her spirit continued to inspire generations long after the battles were over. Despite her courage, Joan's enemies wanted to end her story. She was sentenced to death. The execution was set in Rouen, in the center of a large city. People gathered to watch. Some were curious, some were afraid, some admired her. Joan was calm. She wore simple clothes and walked to the place of execution. She prayed quietly, thinking of France and her mission. Even in the face of death, she did not show fear. She had always believed that courage and faith were stronger than fire or swords. The flames were lit. People shouted and cried. Joan stood tall, facing her end with dignity. She forgave those who had harmed her. Her bravery and calmness inspired many witnesses. Even in death, she showed strength that many soldiers could not match in life. Her sacrifice shocked the world. People began to tell stories of the young girl who had led armies, fought enemies, and died for her beliefs. Her courage inspired soldiers to continue fighting for France. Her faith became a symbol of hope and bravery for generations. Joan's story teaches us that courage is not only about winning battles. It is about staying true to your mission, facing danger without fear, and inspiring others through your actions. Even when life ends, bravery can continue to shine. The memory of Joan of Arc lived on. People remembered her courage, her faith, and her dedication to her country. She became a legend not just as a warrior, but as a symbol of hope and strength. The next part will tell how history remembered Joan, how she became a symbol for future generations, and why her story still inspires people around the world today. After Joan's death, her story did not end. People in France remembered her bravery. Soldiers who had fought with her continued to win battles. The country began to heal and grow stronger. Joan's courage had changed the course of history. Years later, people looked back at her life and realized how extraordinary it was. A young girl, only 17 or 18, had led armies, inspired soldiers, and faced powerful enemies with bravery. She had prayed, trusted her mission, and never given up. In 1456, the church examined her trial. They found that Joan had been innocent and wrongly executed. She was declared a martyr and a saint. This recognition showed that her courage and faith were stronger than lies and enemies. Joan's story continues to inspire people today. Soldiers, leaders, and ordinary people look at her life and learn lessons of courage, honesty, and hope. She showed that one person, even a young girl, can change the world. Her story is not only about battles and war. It is about believing in yourself, standing up for what is right, and never giving up, even when danger is everywhere. Joan's spirit teaches us that bravery is about more than strength. It is about heart, faith, and courage. Every time people tell her story, they remember a girl from a small village in France who became a hero. Joan of Arc is proof that age does not matter. Courage does, faith matters, and one brave heart can inspire millions. So remember Joan of Arc, the Maid of Orleans. Remember how she faced fear, led soldiers, and never gave up. Her story is a lesson for everyone. No matter how small or young you are, you can be brave and change the world. Joan's legacy lives on in history, in hearts, and in the lessons she gave the world. Her story is one of hope, courage, and the power of a brave heart that refuses to give up, even in the darkest moments.